Hey there, listeners. Just a heads up that in this episode we discuss some things that involve movies depicting gore, violence, and sexual violence. So if that's something you don't particularly want to listen to today, please listen to our other episodes, which don't really talk about that kind of thing. Okay, enjoy.
The French champagne.
Champagne!
The schlocky movie from this week may be the schlockiest film we've ever seen on this podcast.
I'm Mr. Pink.
Sis Blue.
So Miranda hasn't seen Reservoir Dogs.
Those men's children are all identical clones of Adolf Hitler.
Once they were men, now they are land crabs.
Amanda Bynes is a national treasure.
There's like a bunch of other shit that happens in Driven.
Is there?
Secret Nazis.
Yeah.
Secret Nazis.
And Daddy lost his eagle.
I hope
So-
no one from my family listens to this podcast.
The Citizen Kane of the week is...
Hello and welcome to another one of CKVS's Podlet series. If you are familiar with the podcast, you would know that this is a podcast where normally we take a movie that is considered to be a classic and put it against a movie that is considered to be more on the schlocky side, and we ask ourselves honestly which is better. However, that's not what these podlets are about. These are our excuse to have longer, rambling conversations in a concise amount of time about subjects pertaining to the field of cinema. So my name is Jack Rennie, and I'm joined, as usual, by my two friends,
Sean Jacqueline.
and L'Autre.
Danielle Benoit.
Oui, oui. And we are joined by a dear friend in life and of the pod, Mr. Andrew Camerone.
Hi, boys.
Andrew, why don't you, because I know you don't like promoting your podcast, but I realize this now, but why don't, at the top of the pod right now, why don't you just quickly say the name of your podcast for anyone who wants to hear more about yours?
Oh, yeah. So I have a movie podcast, too, except I don't tell anybody about it. It's a secret.
So cool.
So cool.
But, no, we're just like, holding off on the marketing drop, and it's going to be huge. It's a strategic.
You're edging.
We're edging, yeah. But it's called Andy and Karl's Style Hour. And we do deep dives on filmographies of directors. So we did a long series on Brian De Palma's movies up until we did Body Double, but until like the start of the 80s. And then we're in the process of recording the full filmography of Robert Altman.
Whew.
Yeah.
I don't know what any of that means, but it sounds interesting. I would have to listen to the podcast to understand more about
MASH.
it. MASH.
It's just a conversation show.
It's a conversation show.
How many
Just talk
episodes do
about
you
the
guys
movies.
have?
We have I think maybe 10 up.
And you can find
Of
them
the De Palma ones?
wherever good podcasts are
Yeah,
found.
we did the Anchor thing. It's on
Okay,
Spotify.
yeah, that goes around.
Does anyone only commit to one?
Yeah, you can only find it on Pocket Pods.
Yeah.
It streams out of Kazakhstan.
On Pod app.
Yeah.
Kazakhstan.
So for this podlet, we have a fun topic, something a bit different, not so like, I don't know, like formal, yeah, like
As opposed to your rigorous classicism.
Yeah.
well, the last couple we've done some that have been a bit more like academic.
It's structured.
About structure. And this isn't that. This is more like an experiential, emotional response question. So the question for this podcast, Podlet, is what movies have really fucked you up? And I guess why? I guess mentioning why. Don't just say the name of a movie, but like let's have little discussions about why.
Mm-hmm. Who's gonna?
I don't know why everyone's looking at me, but
Because you just haven't spoken much
Daniel,
yet.
go.
Daniel here. I'll go.
Yeah.
Well, funnily enough, the one that springs to mind is one that we just recently watched.
Black
on the
Adam.
Black Adam.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Dinner for Schmucks? Because
Lasting
because
impression.
that movie fucked with me too, man. Also, Dinner with Andre. I was like weepy with Miranda talking about philosophy later that night with Miranda. So
Were you really?
Yeah, I was.
Oh, so I guess it did leave a lasting impression.
It did, but not like in the moment, like movies I'm going to talk about later on.
Yeah, I'll never talk about that movie again, except to talk about how much I fucking hated that movie.
Oh man.
No, Requiem for a Dream is the one.
Right.
Requiem for a Dream. Yeah, ass to
Ash
ass.
to ash. Yeah.
The PG Requiem for a Dream.
Bum to bum.
Bud to bud.
And it's just like people in clothes, like in a dance club, like
Yeah.
booty bumping.
Booty bumping. Pass me some more of that sugar to inject into my veins.
They're like making drug sequences, or just someone like clips of
Baking.
it, like making tea.
I'm going to be on TV, and she is. Yeah.
But sorry, yeah, Requiem. Yeah, I know, because that we talked a bit about that, I think. But tell us again.
Yeah, well, it was just, I mean, I wasn't a huge movie guy growing up. And when I saw Requiem for a Dream, I don't even remember how I stumbled onto it. I just like found my way to it somehow. And it like blew my mind apart. It was the first movie I'd ever seen that was like that. And I was also really into drugs when I saw that film. So it just like hit me in a way that no other movie really could. And I've told you guys this. When I first saw that movie, I watched it every day for like a week and a half. And
Holy
like,
shit.
and like I would invite people over, whoever would be willing to watch this movie with me. Like I remember one night I had a girl over and it was like our first date. And I
Brag
was like,
much?
was that? Haven't had one since. But and that's what we did. I just like made her sit through Requiem for a Dream with me because I was just like,
And she
obsessed.
left that night.
Eventually.
You don't have to tell me what happens. Yeah.
Nothing really happened.
okay.
But yeah, that's
I had a similar experience once, and this movie would kind of fit, I think, into this conversation, but not quite. Which is where I guess I saw it fuck someone else up.
Right.
Which is where we also, like, speaking of really quickly, like The Wrestler really got to Miranda.
Oh yeah.
oh yeah.
But on a previous, this was actually my ex-girlfriend. She really liked like stuff about like serial killers, and like she was a big fan of the show Dexter. And
What
like,
is with women and serial killers? I don't understand.
I don't know, but I don't know.
Fucking love it. Okay,
It's
sorry,
something. I
go
don't know.
on.
And so I was like, oh, I know a movie that it's like a cool movie and it's about that genre. Let's watch Seven.
Ooh, yeah.
And she was like just like horrified by the whole movie.
Did she not enjoy what's in the box?
I honestly can't remember if we made it that far.
Oh boy.
That's not even the worst part of that movie.
No, it's the knife strap on.
Oh, I was gonna say it's the glutton.
Yeah,
It's
the
guy
glutton.
who
The
had to
glutton's
eat.
pretty
Well,
gross.
that one too, but then when they just show you like that one, they kind of show you, but like they only show you the image that of a knife strap on, and they don't let you. That's
Sure.
it, just because it's as
I forgot about that actually.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
that's-
it's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So Requiem.
So excuse me, sorry. Way to talk and cough, Sean. But you say it blew your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what parts of that film caused the chemical reactions that led to your brain to blow?
It was just the experience of the whole thing. Like it was I don't even know how to explain it. It was everything about it was so visceral, I guess is a good way to put it.
Right. It made you feel like you were living the same moments that the cast were going through, or
Yeah, kind of. And it was really fucking intense also because like we've talked about, the mom character really fucked me up because I couldn't not see my mom in that role. So I became like obsessed with this idea of like keeping my mom away from like prescription drugs and like just like keeping, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I mean that didn't last long. Now I
Our
don't care.
moms are like trying to help themselves, being like, "I'm on a small dose of antidepressant." And we're like, "No, mom, don't do it.
don't trust doctors.
Don't you know? Like I know what you
No,
mean.
but it did happen. Like I don't even know if I should really share this story or not. But like years later, my mom was having issues with insomnia, and she got prescribed sleeping pills.
So you showed her the movie Insomnia with Al Pacino and Robin Williams.
Al Pacino and Robin Williams. I didn't even know that movie existed.
Yeah, isn't it like a Christopher Nolan movie?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I didn't realize
What?
Robin Williams
okay,
was
we
in
should,
it.
okay.
Anyway,
Pin for later.
Sorry to interrupt.
But no, so, and all I could think about was that movie because she was telling me that like whether they were effective or not, like I don't know, like a month into her using them, she was using them every fucking night, and she was like completely dependent on them, and it was just like this, like there was no medical history taken, there was nothing. It was just, oh, you're having trouble sleeping? Here's a prescription. Fill it whenever you want.
Yeah.
And then I like lost my mind. I was like, "You're getting off those right fucking now." I was like, "If you don't, you promise me you'll never take them again."
You were
if
like,
you don't, I will disown you as my mom.
you were like, Ma, come on. You can't be doing that stuff, Ma.
that fucking croaker, get the
This is Jared
speed,
Leto
eh?
in Requiem for- What are they giving you, Ma?
You're like hashtag.
And that surprisingly worked.
So, so Andrew, now that you've made your presence clear, what about you? What's a movie that's really fucked with you at some point?
I have kind of a like an older like a movie.
Bambi.
I mean Bambi.
Oh,
like,
of course,
that's
Bambi.
That's a classic.
It's a rite of
fuck
passage.
you up movie,
Yeah.
I think. But
Never seen it.
I was thinking. Okay, I have a couple things. One's a recent one that I saw, and one is a when I was a kid. I saw the movie The Mummy. Which have you guys done The Mummy on this?
yeah.
Sorry, the Brendan Fraser one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we have. Yeah.
The scene where he gets his tongue cut off.
Ooh yeah.
That moment really upset me a lot as a kid.
I had a similar.
forget how old I was.
The Mummy was like the first quote unquote scary movie that
Yeah.
I kind of watched on my own. So I similar kind of thing.
Yeah, and then I watched The Ring at a birthday party
Oh yeah.
when that movie was popular, and there was that one shot where the girl's in the closet screaming for some reason really upset me, and it turned me off of watching horror movies. I was like, horror movies are not enjoyable. Why would anybody do this? It's just it makes me feel bad. And then later I got really obsessed with horror movies, and I had like a whole swing back into the genre. But I recently saw a movie that was. Have you guys seen Irreversible?
No.
The Gaspar Noé movie from I think it's like 1999, 2000. But it's kind of notorious because it has this 10-minute rape scene in it,
Oh boy.
and it's really fucking brutal. It's like, and it's the movie kind of has like this reputation for being like just about the movie with the crazy rape scene, but it's actually like about like the whole thing is told in reverse, and the opening scene is like this rabid, like rage-filled Vincent Cassel who's like trying to like go into the depths of this gay bar called the Rectum to get, because that's where he like he's like trying to kill this guy. He's like trying to like, but then again, and then the next scene is like, okay, it goes back into like what happened right before that, and he's like trying to track down these guys, and then the scene before that, it's like then the rape happens, but then the scene before that is like him and his friend and this girl going to this party, but like their whole relationship is kind of fucked up, and so it does this like reverse suspense thing.
So you're going through the timeline backwards.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it's a great movie, but that scene is pretty hardcore and quite,
And
quite upsetting.
Left you fucked up.
I had a similar sleepover story that I feel like I should share, because I had some friends in high school. We'd get together and we'd all crash at this one guy's house, and we'd often watch a movie or whatever. And one time we put on the Blair Witch Project. Oof. And I was in like grade 10, I think. And I remember watching it, and they all had this fun habit of falling asleep after 35 minutes.
So you're sitting there watching the movie by yourself
Essentially.
in like a dark basement?
Yeah.
Oh no.
And I was at this thing where it's like I'd heard about Blair Witch and little things, and I was like, the rumor, the thing about this movie is that it's fake, right? It's not, right? Because it's look, I think this is
not real, right?
It's like a gimmick, right?
Right?
That's the whole thing, or was the thing that not the thing, and there are some movies and like little things in that movie that like still make me uncomfortable when we go to a cottage.
Yeah, of
When
course.
like there's this like they're just like sitting around the tent and they hear like sticks cracking, and they're like, it's walking around us, and I was like, fuck you forever. That I hate just that idea.
And now it's like I've been in a tent and you hear some, like a coyote or something walking around, or a raccoon going around your campsite, just because there's smells of food
Yeah.
and stuff. So since then, have you always been like
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I know what to do when we go to the cottage next year. Is just stand in the corner of the room looking down.
Oh, I will actually kill you. Like I'll actually. Also, you won't remember because you'll be high. So don't
Yeah,
act.
well,
like
I
you know.
mean, everyone will be.
That's a good one though.
Yeah.
Yeah, The Ring, that kind of stuff. Yeah, Grudge freaked me out, but it didn't leave a lasting impression. Like
The
Blair
Grudge was
Witch
like
did.
the Ring light, I found.
I never saw The Ring, so I don't.
I didn't either, but I know that it was definitely this like a similar, because the American
Very
Ring
similar.
came from a Japanese. It was an adaptation,
Ringu.
right?
They're both based on Japanese movies, I think. The Grudge was
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hearing you talk about the horror movies, have you guys ever seen Event Horizon?
No.
So Event Horizon is this movie, again, a movie that I saw when I was way too young to watch it. It was like a horror sci-fi movie about this spaceship that was that vanished and then like reappears 20 years after the fact or whatever. And the whole idea is that when it vanished, it like somehow traveled to hell and got possessed and came back. And like the
early 2000s or late 90s.
Yeah,
or something?
and the premise is kind of silly, but there's one scene where the people who are investigating the ship, present day, watch a video of the ship's log of when the people are possessed while the ship's in hell. And there's one clip of someone just like ripping their own eyes out.
Yeah.
And like showing the camera. And that like I must have been, I don't know, 7 when I saw that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Fuck.
Yeah, that really fucked me up. That and Rocky Horror Picture Show was another one.
I thought you were going to say Rocky and Bullwinkle.
That also, well, that just made me infuriated. But Rocky Horror was one that really fucked me up because, again, you've all seen it.
It's been a while.
Have you seen it, Andrew?
Yeah, also been a while, but I have. Yeah.
Didn't fuck me up from like scare me, but it made me so sexually confused.
Yeah, that's
To
the
this
point.
very day.
To this very day, I still don't know what
Tim
I
Curry
like.
walks on screen. You're like, I don't know.
Well, like no, but
but
like maybe.
He's good at his job.
He's a
That's all we're
sexy person.
saying. We agree.
Well, and there's that one scene where he sneaks into both of the protagonists' rooms as the other person and goes down on them.
Right.
And it's like kind of sexy, especially as like this prepubescent boy who is just like watching it in secret, just trying to find any way to get his rocks off.
Titillating.
Little boner.
It was a little boner.
It was a little boner.
In the basement humping couches.
Sean, do you got one?
Oh, I have many. I think I talked about this on the Island of Dr. Moreau episode.
Okay.
But I have this like distinct memory from the house I grew up in when I was kind of between the age of like 3 and 6 of my mom watching a movie on TV, and all I remember is they're like cutting open a rib cage of some furry thing and pulling something out, and it's covered in like meat goop, and it's like bleep bleep bleep, and then the next thing I remember is like burning corpses of these animal people on fire. And then it wasn't until we watched The Island of Dr. Moreau for the podcast that it's the scene where they like rip out the transponder that's inside of them when they realize Moreau's tracking them, and that's how he controls them. And like and one of them dies, so they like burn its body or something like that. So that's a memory that was unlocked from this podcast, essentially, because it scarred the shit out of me. I was like, oh my god, bodies look like that. Oh.
So was our episode on that movie therapeutic for you? Did it help you relieve the burden?
It kind of, because I just had this like image in my mind, and then suddenly I could like place it and understand where it was from.
Right.
Don't find it scary anymore. That movie is kind of stupid, but
that's a dumpster fire.
So stupid, it's great.
Yeah.
Also,
Brando's best performance, I think.
No, the score.
the school.
Edward Norton. Sexiest actor alive. Playing a guy who does a heist, and his strategy is to infiltrate the bank by pretending to be mentally retarded. It's a great movie. Sorry, doesn't derail.
Wait, who pretends, Brando or Norton?
Norton.
Of course.
Okay, yeah. I haven't seen that one. Oh no.
Sorry, it's also starring Robert De Niro.
Oh, guys.
I've seen this, and it's about like a scepter or something.
Yeah, they're stealing a scepter.
Yeah, I've fucking seen that movie, but I don't remember any of that.
Yeah.
Fuck.
The fat guy in the white suit that De Niro's getting his marching orders from is Marlon Brando.
Brando.
I don't.
What
It's
year?
his last movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what year is this?
Like
Jesus.
2001
Yeah.
or something.
Holy shit. Did he know what was going on? I also have, when I was, I think, 5, my friend who lived a couple houses down, who was like 7, invited me over to watch a movie, and that movie was Children of the Corn. And I don't think I watched a horror movie until I was like 15 or 16 after that, because I was like, oh, horror movies are where I get traumatized. No, thank you. That's fine. So there's that. In terms of the larger fucked up, I also remember renting Mulan for probably 7 weeks straight. I know there was like a record of getting the same movie week after week. So like that movie must have fucked me up in some way for me to just like want to watch it over and over and over again. You know?
How old were you?
9.
I mean, you just like.
Yeah, I mean, just like
movies
movies.
on
Yeah, but if
repeat
you,
at that
you know,
point.
you get fucked up by movies.
Did
You're
it,
like,
did it fuck you up sexually?
Fucked you up good though, is what
Yeah,
you're saying.
like
Like
it-
you were attracted to like the captain guy. 'cause
no, I
he's
think
cute.
it was just I hadn't seen like stories told
What?
like that. I probably hadn't really connected with a female protagonist in any way at that point in my life. So that was probably a moment of like, oh shit, I recognize something here.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of Disney movies, I remember being really upset by Fantasia, like the original
Yes!
Fantasia movie.
Oh,
which
shit.
is like a weird movie
Broom
to show
People?
to kids.
The broom people.
Yeah, and I remember it wasn't even anything. It was just so illogical and like a literal like a like this. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense.
No.
What's happening?
Where's
I don't
my
like
main
this.
narrative? I need a singular narrative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple other like little ones that come to mind. Speaking of sort of like pseudo children's fantasy type stuff, of also when we had the podcast, which is Willow, because I saw that movie when I was really young.
Oh, that'll
and there's
fuck
some
up.
stuff in that movie that I feel like as a kid I just like held my eyes open and convinced myself I was okay with it, like
Yeah.
with what I was seeing, but it was like really weird sights and sounds and stuff. Also, same sleepover group.
Those guys weren't your friends, by the way, Jack.
They definitely weren't and aren't.
Oh, one guy's listening like, oh, I've listened to every episode of your
He's
podcast,
like just
man.
about to text Jack.
Unless it's like Jared Bishop listening, in which case, dude, like you're all right. You seem really cool, but we're just not tight.
I think I know him.
Yeah.
I think so. We'll talk after.
Long
Yeah, I think you
time
do
friend
well.
of the pod,
He
Jared
did.
Yeah,
Bishop.
Jared's pretty. He's good people.
Yeah.
He's fine.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's. I don't know. Maybe he's not. Fuck you, Jared. So, no. It was in Jared's basement. So
That's funny.
they also fell asleep real quick when we watched the Peter Jackson King Kong. And that movie also has some weird visuals. The whole like giant bug pit. I watched that entire movie alone. They all fell asleep, and I was like, through like a bunch of it.
That one I feel like is a little bit of a safer bet though, because while it's eerie and creepy, it takes place on like this distant island.
sure.
So like it's not like a movie that's gonna keep you up at night because you're scared something's in your room.
Yeah, which is what Jurassic Park did to me when I was a kid.
Is it really?
Yeah, that movie scared me. I had nightmares about dinosaurs.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, like really vivid ones too.
That was after Land Before Time. You watched Land Before Time, and you're like, fuck, dinosaurs. Scary.
I was like, dinosaurs are awesome. I am one, maybe.
You know what's funny is that talking about kids dinosaur movies, that show Dinosaurs,
Oh, yeah. That got fucked up at times.
it got
It ends
fucked
with
up.
their annihilation.
Does it really?
then-
I just remember like I don't even remember specifics from the show. I just remember being really upset by it.
It ends with the entire family like looking out the window as like nuclear winter after a series of like horrific volcanic eruptions have happened in the world because they've caused climate change through their like what they've done to the planet by being a society, a collective society. And
my
they're looking
God.
out as like the world starts like raining ash down over top of them. They're like, well, okay. And that's the end of the show.
So in the show, they're not wiped out by an asteroid. They're wiped out by.
By like massive
change.
climate disaster. Yeah.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Okay, I'm gonna use that to segue into one of my more like, because I mentioned like kid stuff is one thing, but I'm interested also in particular like the ones like as an adult or feeling more of an adult. Sure.
Yeah.
Affected you, and so that feels like one that I watched, which is the movie The Road.
Yeah.
Is it the? Oh no, I'm thinking of Book of Eli. Go on.
No. But it
The
is
one
a,
with the one about the blind
Denzel Washington and
machete ninja.
the
I
Bible.
don't know, I'm thinking of I Am Legend.
Oh, sorry, I was thinking of The Kingsman.
Yeah.
It's just a fun movie. But
Which one is The Road?
The Road is the one with Viggo Mortensen. Viggo, I think is actually how you say his name, by the way. And it's about a father and son, and it's in a post-nuclear winter apocalyptic hellscape where nothing grows anymore.
and there are cannibals.
So the world is mostly like bands of roving cannibals, and it's just like them trying to find little bits of food and not be eaten by cannibals.
Yeah.
Ooh, shit.
And so overall, it's like a kind of creepy thriller, sort of soft, creepy movie. You know, it's like a dramatic thing. But there's one scene in particular where they get captured by said cannibals and brought to like their big country house that they're all staying in. And there's like weird fucked up that happens where like there's like a woman with them who like essentially like fights back, I think, against sexual advances, and so the guy just like fucking kills her, and like you can tell that like with the intention of just like now they're just gonna eat her. It's just like that's a really fucked up thing. But the part, sorry for anyone listening. This is also just like this is a fucked up thing. And anyway, sorry.
I'll put a disclaimer in the episode description.
Trigger warning.
Yeah.
Trigger warning. Cannibalism. Anyway, so they get thrown down
We're not Army Hammer.
into like what you feel like is a basement at first. I remember watching this movie and I was like, okay, it's just dark. And they get thrown into this like what I think is a basement essentially. And then there are a bunch of like naked people in this basement who just start like coming at them, being really weird, and then they end up like fighting their way out and they get out of the house. And it wasn't until they were like getting out of that room that I realized it's not a basement, it's a cellar.
Oh yeah.
And those people were their food stores.
Yeah.
And I remember having such a visceral reaction of like I actually almost threw up.
Yeah.
Like I remember like I had to like keep it down. Like I almost felt sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
And I've never had a movie do that before or since. It was sorry everyone, it's a fucked up story, but that's how fucked up it was.
Well, to continue, have you all seen? I think it's called Bonesaw. Shit. So I have to look it up. Okay, someone else vamp while I figure out what this
Andrew, do you have
fucking
another
movie
one?
was. Yeah.
I was. Oh fuck! I had some. Oh, this is such good podcasting right here. I had something I was gonna say, but I don't remember what it is.
Yeah, keep this going. This is good.
It was about. Have you guys seen Antichrist?
Oh,
The Lars
I've
von
seen
Trier
clips of it.
That's if you want a fucked up movie, that one's pretty good.
well, Dogville actually is probably one that fucked me up of his.
I haven't seen Dogville.
Just because it is such a non-conventional movie, I like fully watched it, and it is kind of horrific at parts, but there's no set. It is just the like wall framings, the like 2x4s to create the idea of a city, but there's no actual walls in the framing. So you're watching these scenes happen in these houses, but there's also just people going about their days in other houses all around the action that's going on. So it was kind of one like Von Trier's a good fuck up director.
He's out there. But I remember what I was gonna say. So it wasn't a movie that fucked me up necessarily, but on a couple Halloweens ago, me and my girlfriend and her friend were at the cottage and we were doing some mushrooms. So we were kind of like high on psychedelics, and I was like, it's Halloween, we should watch a horror movie.
Oh no.
So I decided we should throw on the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh fuck yeah!
Okay.
Which I think is just one of the greatest movies
Classic.
ever. It's kind of a perfect movie. But there's just lots of... It's like... If you're on psychedelics, it's like intense. And they hadn't seen it before.
It's so real.
And there's lots of screaming, and you're in
Yeah.
Texas in the sweltering heat, and you're getting chased with
they make that
loud
heat.
chainsaw. And it kind of cast a bit of a weird energy over the rest of the Halloween
Yeah,
hang. But I was like... I thought that's what... You don't...
it's Halloween. Yeah.
I also feel like there's also like a kind of I feel like when I was younger there used to be a bit of a culture of like let's watch like this, let's be getting excited about like we're gonna watch something transgressive and kind of fucked up and like coming out of the age of like the internet videos where like you would just like watch like the disturbing shit on the internet.
A 2 Girls 1 Cup was one I might suggest for this podlet.
Yeah, okay.
Or like
Citizen Kane recommends.
I saw that short pornographic clip change
which
people.
plays as a comedy now if you watch it.
It's really worth the rewatch. I haven't seen it since high school.
I remember what the movie title was, but maybe we take a wee ad break right here.
Sure, real quick, and then we'll wrap up shortly. All right. See you either in a minute or a second, depending on if there's
We've
an
been
ad.
getting ads.
Oh, sweet. Then see you after an ad right now.
Yeah.
Mwah. And we're back. Yeah. So,
I remember.
okay, tell them the thing.
The movie's called Bone Tomahawk.
I've heard of this.
Greg Zoller.
Yes. Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it. I saw his Dragged Across Concrete movie.
Oh, I don't know that
I think I was chatting with you guys a little bit. That's with Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn.
Oh,
where they play
right.
the suspended cops who like go
And that
after
wasn't
the drug
very good.
dealers. It actually kind of came together towards the end.
Right.
But I don't think you guys would like it very much.
No. This one fucked me up. It was like just after we graduated theater school, and I was doing a lot of just like sitting on the couch and watching movies because that's all there was.
Hell yeah.
This is a Western where people are disappearing from this like frontier town, and the local sheriff Kurt Russell gets he and his buddy together.
I've
to
heard about
they go
how
out
it's
into the
not
wilderness.
the movie you think it is at all.
And spoilers ahead for Bone Tomahawk. I don't know if I'd recommend it fully because it is pretty fucked up. What has been happening is this like local indigenous tribe or group. They've been so secluded that they've actually like super evolved themselves to be like 7'5" super strong titans that when they're born, they place these like special like hollow resonant tubes in their vocal cords so that they create these like subhuman like sounds just by breathing normally. That's how they communicate with each other. So they seem very like not human. And the climax of the film, they get captured, and his like best friend, who I think is played by Patrick Wilson, one of the it might not be him. One of the characters gets like hung up as if he was going to be like dried for meat, but then they just like take one of his legs and open it up and use their like bone tomahawk. You watch them as they hack him diagonally down, and he like pulls apart into two pieces. It was very fucked up.
God.
It's very fucked up.
Sounds pretty sick.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. There's just a lot of horrifying body gore like that. And I was not prepared for it when I thought I was just watching this like fun Western.
Okay, so here's my question, and maybe this is its own episode, but at what point is it too much? Like, do we collectively agree that like there's
What point is enough?
No, but you know what
Okay.
I mean. Like, do we all agree that level of excess is okay in
Left
movies?
an impact.
Yeah, but for what? Like, to what end? For what purpose? Except,
I'm never gonna watch that movie again.
would you watch his other movies?
Yeah, I think I would.
Okay, so then maybe
Maybe
that's
not the
answer.
Vince Vaughn one.
No, but I don't know. I know what you mean though. It's like I like the Irreversible. That's like a very extreme scene, but I feel like it has a point and it serves the overall movie, and it's not gratuitous. It's like a personal taste thing of like when something becomes gratuitous.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me personally, there was like an episode of Boardwalk Empire in season 2, and season 2 just got really violent.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a scene where someone just gets his face pummeled in by a pipe or like a wrench or something, and then there was another scene where some guy just gets scalped, and it's like one of those shots where it's just like you see the knife like cut the scalp off,
Yeah.
and you see the skull underneath, and I'm like, I don't think this is it. I usually am pretty tolerant of gratuitous violence, but it just felt like, ugh, why?
I find it somehow worse when TV does it because it feels like it's for some kind of like rating spike.
Sure,
Right.
you got to get the rate. Yeah,
But
the
in
IMDb.
cinema, I do excuse it more. It is funny. Like I would argue that scene from The Road was like a crucial thing to be like included. Like it just shaped the whole world in the movie. You know,
Well, I
like,
guess like the one from The Road, I mean, it wasn't so much that it was any kind of gratuitous violence. It was more so just the like grotesque implication of the scene, right?
yeah, and arguably,
Yeah.
I'd argue it would have been too much if there was also a scene where like then someone from upstairs like pulled one of the people out and they were all like weird or screaming or silent, and then there was like a whole scene of like butchering a human. Like you'd been like, I didn't need to see all of that. Like I know what you mean. Like that would have been too much.
This is my point. Like I guess like obviously in some cases it is required, or a certain level of gratuity is required to serve the story. But like at what point is it too much? Is it okay to have a scene or have a movie that exists solely for the purpose of shocking you or disrupting your nervous system?
Yes.
You guys ever seen a Serbian film?
I was going to bring that up. I haven't, but like that's the exact
It's
movie for
called a
this.
Serbian film?
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like notoriously one of the most like brutally gratuitous movies that like ever made or
It's
something.
like it's just like nonstop sexual gore and like violence.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
like a Serbian porno actor like volunteers who's like trying to make money for his family or something, like volunteers.
This is the story, or this is
yeah,
the
this
real
is the story
Okay.
to like volunteer for this like experimental pornography thing where it's like you just have to agree to let us do whatever you want to you, and then he just puts him through like a series of tortures where they like drug him and make him like rape his son and kill his wife, and it's like,
That's so fucked up though. Like,
but that's
why?
like the point, and I don't know.
Okay. So I guess this is my point. Did you say that's the point? But what is the point besides it just being fucked up?
I think there's something to be said about making something as pure provocation, as purely a thing to just like shake someone who's watching it. You don't necessarily know what you're shaking them out of, but just the physical act of like being able to make someone go for a day, a week, a month, a year, a lifetime is like kind of worth a piece of art, I would say.
Just transgression.
Yeah.
I guess. And I think in Serbia at the time, I read a thing about it. It's like Serbian cinema was very like polite and very safe at the time, and the filmmaker wouldn't be like, "Oh, I'll just make the most fucked up movie I possibly can,"
Right.
To shake them out of that or whatever.
Yeah, and it's not like it got major theatrical release or anything like that.
Yeah. I think it has its place. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a hard thing to say, to answer that question concisely. I think it really depends on the film, the moment, the person. It's super subjective.
But it's really true about the TV thing, because I feel like I was actually thinking, because I think actually Tarantino does the scalping thing in Inglourious Bastards.
Oh
For some
yeah,
reason that didn't bother me, but it was something about the Boardwalk Empire thing where it was just like, and then he's gonna scalp him.
Well, is
It'll
it
be cool? But it also like, didn't seem like it fit the show.
Well, that's
or,
what I was
like-
gonna say. Like tonally, was it like
Yeah.
off brand? Because for a Tarantino movie, you expect it, but
Yeah,
for
he
Boardwalk
like does
Empire,
violence
it
is
seems
his
out of place.
language, kind
Yeah.
of. But in
Yeah.
TV, it's like this is like a gangster show, but it's like
Right. Like if it was
Game
Game
a
of
hardcore
Thrones,
gangster show where we scalp people and stuff.
And also,
Right.
you know, in Inglourious Bastards, from like before that scene, you have Brad Pitt being like, "I want 100 scalps."
yeah.
Remember,
I'm
soldier in
on
this
100
regiment.
scalps.
Yeah, so like I want my scalps.
Yeah,
So you kind of know it. And here's actually the counterpoint to that, especially because I think there are actually so many people who think that something going too far is like saying fuck or like
Right.
or whatever. I'm like, then nothing is too far because of those people.
Right.
Like until we raise the tolerance level of everyone, I'm like, do whatever you want is kind of the way I think I sort of feel about it.
yeah.
I mean, I'm sure I have a point that I would be debated on that, and that would just be my tastes. But I find people lowering that bar more the problem than raising it.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
yeah.
I was gonna open up the window a little bit. We've been talking about a lot about like things that disturbed us in a way to fuck us up, but I'll bring this up mostly.
Things that made us feel nice.
Well, things that like leave a deep impact on you.
I got
And
one of
it's
those.
Not the movie Deep Impact. I'm going to say this purely to piss Daniel off, but 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oh god.
There it is. It is. I bring this up a lot for good reason. It's the first film where after I watched it, I just kind of like sat down and thought for a while. I just like thought about my place in the universe, what it means to like really be alive right now. You know, one of those films. And that I think I was 15 when I watched it, and I was like, "Oh shit, I'm not important." You know? So, that film. Daniel.
Still true
Yeah.
to the very day.
I'm not important. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Not even right now.
No, in the
We
grand scheme
care
of things.
about you. The people in this room care about you more than
No, we're
anyone else.
podcasting right now. Now we're important.
Yeah, we're right now. It's very important.
One, and it's still sort of like I wouldn't consider it a negative emotion when I describe this experience. For me, was Schindler's List.
Never heard of it.
Surprise. Yeah, it's a kind of indie.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
Kind of still, it's cult. So it.
Steven Stuhlbarg?
Yeah. Steven Stuhlbarg. Lives in a castle. So there, that movie ends with it's like this really it's a surprisingly subtle Holocaust movie, more than I expected. Unlike like something like The Piano, which I think I had seen first,
Sure.
where it's like, and then this fucked up thing happens, and then this fucked
Or
up
like
things
the boy in the
happen.
blue pajamas or something.
Yeah,
like that.
where it's just like a running through of a list of the things. Whereas Schindler's List is surprisingly about just like trying to manage a factory and subvert the Nazis.
Who plays the really fucked up sniper guy though?
I don't remember.
Is it Ray Fiennes?
that sounds very possible.
The first time I watched that movie, that's a pretty profound one too.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna fucking bawl your eyes out the first time you watch that film. But like his character in particular, who's someone who has done so much evil in his life that evil is no longer it's just a way of life, and it means nothing to him to sniper people in a camp in front of him from his window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just like how it ends with the idea of Liam Neeson's character of Schindler kind of being like, I could have saved more, and you realize how much he was trying to do everything he could. And then cut to a thing that just doesn't happen in movies, where it ends with a sequence of
the actual survivors
appearing and realizing the real world ramifications of this thing. And I think I had read this book as well, as I think for like a book report, like I'd read it as well. And even still, like I remember it was also with my ex, and I was like in her basement, and I just like bent over, like sitting down. I just like bent over into my hands and wept for like a few
She was
minutes.
like, stop being such a pussy.
I mean, almost. To her credit, she asked if I was okay, but kind of in that like, are you okay?
Are you okay?
Like, you're making me uncomfortable. Can you wrap this up?
This happened like 100 years ago, babe.
Almost. So that movie, that was like, it's just like I was done. Like I was torn open.
Yeah.
Are we wrapping up? I got one more.
Yeah.
Kind of
one more
you ever
sounds
seen
good.
Baby of Masson?
No.
By Peter Greenaway.
If Andrew's movies sound interesting to you, check out his podcast, where it all makes sense.
Okay, if you want to watch the more mainstream fucked up movie, go watch Come and See. That's a great one about World War II and the invasion of Belarus with the Nazis and the Germans. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's from the 80s. It's a Soviet movie. And it's on the Criterion Channel. It's like fairly well-known movie, but Baby of Masson is a weird movie by Peter Greenaway, who's a really fucked up British director who made a lot of movies in the 80s. But he like kind of brings Jacobite theater to like British movie-going audiences by like staging like a play within a play of like Jacobean times, and they're like doing this crazy play about like this baby that is born to this like plague town where like nobody's been being able to give birth, but then this baby is born, but they think the baby is cursed. So then, but then there's this crazy sequence where like the mother of the baby starts like selling like you know how they used to sell like relics of like the Jesus's finger or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like she's like, here's the baby's like spit up or whatever. She's like, you can touch the baby and you'll be saved.
Right.
But then she gets punished by this. But by like just like this, and they're like, we don't know how to punish her because law says we can't commit executions because she's like a lady or something. And then the king who's like watching the play, he like enters the play and he's like, I know what you can do. You can just get everyone in the play to rape her.
Oh my God.
And then there's this horrible scene where like 20 people like rape this person.
Oh,
but it's
boy.
like, but they do it for real. And then at the end, she's like, well, she died from all the rapes. And then
What the fuck?
You're really into these movies, huh?
but you gotta see it.
Okay.
Well,
You gotta see it. You gotta be there.
It's beautifully done, and it does
Yeah.
capture like kind of what Jacobean theater kind of probably was.
Yeah, but the
back then, kind of
rawness,
spirit
the
of it, like,
violence,
intensity of
yeah.
it. But it's staged as like a play within a play, and at the end, all the actors in the play like look into the camera and like take a bow, but then the couple who died, including this poor woman, they're like actually dead. Like we actually like killed these actors for this movie.
Yeah.
It was pretty disturbing. That was another recent one that messed me up. So that's my number one recommendation: is go check out Baby of Masson by Peter Greenaway.
Or don't.
And The Road. check out all these and Bonesaw Tomahawk. Or whatever.
And there's what was that one that we watched together that one time? It was me, you, Rianne, and Marisa.
Oh, Climax.
Climax.
Same director as Irreversible.
Okay,
Yeah.
that tracks. So this is a movie. What was it, French?
Yeah, it's a French movie.
It's a French movie about this like rave or something.
It's about a dance team that
Right.
performs this amazing piece of choreography. It's like a huge ensemble, and like the cinema, like the way they shoot the movie, the camera swoops in and films it. It's like this beautiful thing.
Isn't the whole thing done in a oneer?
Oh, wait, you showed me this one?
I might have showed you the opening sequence
dance?
of it.
Yeah.
And it's like this kind of like voguey, ravey, like crumping. It's a really amazing piece of dance. But then, and they're like, great rehearsal, everybody. And like, no, let's just have a party. But then someone spikes the punch with acid. And then the entire dance collective just descends into hell. And,
Which, like, I've never done acid, but I know enough to know that, like, that isn't probably what would happen if everyone was on acid.
No, but it's just a conceit.
Yeah, but it is fucking wild, man.
It's a great movie.
Good double date movie.
Yeah. I mean, me and Marisa. I think you were also like freshly with your partner.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like
and I actually had taken before I was dating my current girlfriend. It was when the movie came out. We went to see it at TIFF, and we both loved it. It was a great
that
date
played
movie.
at TIFF. Oh shit, I didn't know that.
And but the thing is, she's French, so it was a good date movie. That's the thing. A lot of these movies are good date movies if your girlfriend is European.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right.
Yeah. Belarusian.
Yeah, Belarusian.
Italian.
Serbian.
Yeah. Well,
That's all I got.
Well, fantastic.
what movies fucked you up?
Oh, and The
Yeah.
Exorcist.
Yeah.
That's the one that I think I've told you that my mom is like, that's fun. Just don't ever watch The Exorcist.
Yeah, and,
That
she,
movie,
and
Exorcist
she's right.
is fucked up. That's have you guys?
No.
seen
Yeah,
that one?
no,
That's-
because
Oh, you've actually never seen it.
no.
Oh, it is fucked up. Again, I watched it when I was like 6.
Yeah, don't. Yeah.
Oh, and I still like some images are burned into my fucking brain, man.
We'll do that for Halloween this year.
Nope.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, I won't. I can't.
Exorcist.
I actually can't.
Versus
Scary movie.
Scary Movie 4.
That would be a pretty apt comparison, actually.
Wait, because it's a parody, which is kind of cheating.
A comparity.
A comparity. Now I'm back in. So yeah, what movies really fucked you up? Relive your worst or best dreams and tweet them at us.
Tell us your trauma.
Yeah. At our Twitter, at Citizen Kane VS. That's it, right?
At twitter.musk.com.
Yeah, .musk.tesla.org. And then, like that's great. And give us a follow and see you next time. That's it. I don't know, whatever. Everyone say goodbye. Goodbye.
Bye.
Oh, God. I said say goodbye, not fucking drone it.
You guys need to sign off. And we'll see you at the movies.
What's the sign off of your podcast?
I kind of do that sometimes.
So you're just stealing it from.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I've subsumed your podcast. This is now a style hour.
Right, like an amoeba.
And that's the way the movie crumbles.
There it is. Well,
To infinity and movie.
That's the one.